if we're all good to go. Welcome everyone. Good to see you all. And
oops, you're on mute.
I hear you.
I've lost you, Steve. Can't hear
You're
you.
muting yourself.
Still can't hear you, mate.
okay,
I can hear you now.
They can hear you now.
okay. It's because Sally and I are in the same room, and if one of us doesn't mute our microphone, we get awful feedback. So
Okay.
so as long as we're okay like this, we'll go ahead. I'll just raise my voice a little so that Sally's laptop can hear me. So where was I? Oh yes, sorry. So present. It's myself, Steve Lennick, Angela Finn, Bethia Thomas, Mike Wise, and Stephen Smith. So we have 5 councillors, and Joe King and Sally Thurston as officers. So we are quorate. Thank you everyone. Hopefully others will join as we go along. So first of all, apologies for absence. Have we received any?
We haven't, no.
Okay, no apologies. So then we go on to the minutes of the last meeting, back on the 4th of March. So they've been circulated, so I'll just page them for accuracy. Page 1. And page 2. Okay, if you're happy with those, I will sign them later on. Everyone happy?
Yeah.
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 Nods, shows of hands. Yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you. If anyone wants to speak, join an item, if you could just use your raise hands icon, then either Sally or I will spot it and will bring you in. Okay, so moving on, declarations of interest and requests for dispensation. Any or none at this time?
No.
Okay, none to record. Okay, thank you. So, public question time. No questions received. Okay, so then we move on to items for information only, and I'll let Sally take us through those.
So you have the CCLA Public Sector Deposit Fund interest rates and information in your pack for your information. I don't know if anyone's got any questions on those. I'll do my best to answer them. No.
No.
Then you have the Corn Exchange conversion budget. As you all know, the conversion is now complete. We're just waiting to have a carpet laid in the Mayor's Parlour, which we did separately to the contract because we didn't realise how bad the carpet was until work started. So we are going to replace the carpet in the Mayor's Parlour, but the contract works came £1,087 under budget, and that should cover the Mayor's Parlour carpet. So we should still come in slightly under budget. And if you look on the spreadsheet that I've circulated, we've also got a budget of £3,248 for fixtures and fittings, and that's held by the Place Fundraising Board. So we bought a washing machine and a dishwasher, broadband needs installing, and other such fixtures and fittings.
Right. Mike's asked to come in on this, I think. So, okay. Mike?
Yes, I was just wondering, the underspend, Sally, do we have to, sorry, Chair, is that okay? Do we have to give any of the money back, or is that goes into the Place Fund?
So the underspend, I think we will spend because of the carpet that needs replacing in the Corn Exchange. The rest of the money is held by the Place Fundraising Board anyway.
Thank you.
So that will be for them to decide. I just want to give you a quick website accessibility update because that was in the last minutes that we'd assigned a little bit of money. We assigned some money towards that. We've actually done that in-house and addressed the accessibility in-house, so there's quite a saving there for the committee.
Okay, right, thank you, Sally. Any questions on those items, or can we move on?
Yeah, just thanks to the team to do the website accessibility in-house. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry everybody, I missed the Southampton Street car park update, just
Okay.
to let you know that everything's now complete in the car park.
And ongoing maintenance, is that our responsibility?
So the Earth and Safe group are doing the weeding, but any major works our tidy team will carry out.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to agenda item 6, the financial reports for the end of the year, 2019-20. Again, circulated. So can we start off with office and establishment? So Sally, are you able to put them on screen? Or?
Yeah.
That's probably the easiest way.
Can you all see that?
Well, I think once we've all expanded it.
Can you magnify that, please, Sally?
Yes. Yeah, we could do with it.
There we go.
That's better. Okay. So we'll start off with the first page of office and establishment. I have some, Sally, do you want to go through the things that you've highlighted? That's probably the best way of doing it initially.
So these are the end of year reports, and you'll notice that 5103, which is telephone, is overspent. We had some Wi-Fi improvements that cost £1,142, which were on top of our normal telephone bills that came out of that line. So that's why that one's overspent. You'll notice that 5114 is also overspent. And that is because we had a new laptop for myself and a new projector. You'll also notice that 5124 is overspent, and that includes our investment in the West Mill solar farm. That came out of that sundry expenditures. And you'll also notice that 5129 is overspent, and that includes 5 new laptops for staff.
Right. Okay, everyone happy with that page? Do you want to put the next one up, Sally, please?
Have I gone a bit too far? There we go.
Right, so we have the grants budget and the outcome on that, and you will see that, and you probably recall that we ended up overspending our grants budget for the year. And having to take money out of, was it reserves in the end, or anyway, it was a reserve. Yeah. We borrowed money from elsewhere to meet all the grant applications. So at the bottom we have the final outcome for office and establishment, which came in pretty much on budget. Okay, is everyone happy with that? Can we note that one?
Yeah.
All right, everyone nod or wave your hand or.
I was just going to ask, just because I'm curious.
Okay.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Why the overspend on the grants budget? How did that happen? I mean, I don't mind at all. Happy to do that, but I thought we were more the other way around, that we couldn't spend our money, or was that just the youth grants?
The youth grants were the ones, I think, that if you like, we hold more money than we've had applications. The general grants, I think we had a number of grant applications from organisations within helping people within the town. The CAB wanted information.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
And so on. And I think ultimately we found that we had under budgeted, and I believe we rectified that for this year.
Fabulous. Thank you.
So the next one is the information centre. And you'll see, I think the staff are to be commended for the fact that, given that we effectively had almost a quarter of COVID, they were able to maintain an income very close to the income that we budgeted for. I think that's a really commendable effort. And you know, had we not had the lockdown, that rather looks as though the projection would have been that they would have gone over budget on income. So that's excellent. Otherwise, things are pretty much as as expected. Anyone have any questions on TIC? Okay, can we note that? Yeah, thank you. So the next one is direct council expenditure.
That's come up.
It's come up, but it needs enlarging. It's come up as a very small. Yeah, we're getting there.
Is that better? Too big?
No, it's strangely it's we've only got half the sheet, I think.
That's on my other screen, that's why, just bear with me. Is that better?
Almost there. It's still slightly. That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's fine. Okay, everyone can see that. Okay, so as always, the Public Works Loan Board repayments are what they are, and we budget for them, and they're pretty much spot on as budgeted. Mayor's allowance and underspend, is that's year round, that's completed now?
Yeah.
Steve, Mike would like you to ask you a question regarding this, I think.
Okay.
On the mayor's allowance, Steve, really the year didn't get completed because there were various functions booked which had to be cancelled. So I think the last thing I went to was on March the 15th, and of course the year carried on till May. So that represents the difference, I think. Looking at the next this quarter, I think there must have been some rebates from the things we'd actually spent out. So.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah.
That was pretty well on course.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly the expenditure because I only deal with travel expenses now, so I can't comment on the. Liz must have kept tally of all the events that I went to on town's behalf.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Okay, so then we have the Children's Centre. Any questions on that?
So you can see there that the 5203 is overspent, but we had a reimbursement from the Place Fundraising Board, and it is also reflected in the amount of earmarked reserves that went forward for this year.
Right. Okay. And obviously there's the money that we hold through the 106 and presumably going forward still payments. So that's money that we haven't made much, like Better Ways to School. I've spent £360 so far.
Yeah, hopefully one day that will be spent. It's I've been promised actually that the works will start as soon as the new cycle racks are installed by County Council. So right. Hopefully that will be this autumn that the works on the Better Ways to School cycle network do start.
Good.
Steve, Mike's got another question.
Right, yeah.
It was just I can't remember what EMR stands for, Steve.
Earmarked reserve.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I've run out of acronyms. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Sally's scrolling down. Does anyone have any questions on any of the items on the screen now? Mike again. Come in, Mike.
You're on mute, Mike.
Sorry. Have we got a time limit to spend those monies on, for instance, the retail park and Better Ways to School? I know Better Ways to School's been going on a long time, but it was a retail park I was more concerned with.
No, because that was a direct payment from the developer to us.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So all of these are actually cash that we hold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than a promissory note that we can draw on.
No,
Yeah.
they're cash we hold in our own accounts.
Yes. Okay. Right. So that's direct council expenditure. If we can note that then, please, and move on to the year-end summaries for facilities.
Let me see that.
Okay. So the RNOS income includes that insurance.
Yeah,
For the bus yard.
yes, and the expenditure actually. So their expenditure was way under, and their income includes. We had an insurance payment for a bus shelter that had a car hit a bus shelter, so that's included there. That's why their income is so high.
Okay. Thank you. Again, the Corn Exchange did remarkably well considering the lockdown.
So the quarter would have finished on the 31st of March, so it didn't affect it too much.
And does that include the family newspapers?
Yeah, yeah.
So effectively that was rent going forward into this year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's, I guess that skewed it a little.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Right. The pump house as well. Didn't do too badly on income.
No, and we had to make a refund from the pump house for some income from the previous year. So they did well actually. I think not including that, they would have hit that income target.
Okay. Right. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on those summaries? Can we note them, please?
Yes.
And then move on to communities and partnerships. Okay. So the income on communities and partnerships includes that's the money that has come as a payment from the children's centre.
I'm just going to have a look what that is.
Okay.
I think so the cinema is doing exceptionally well.
Ah, of course. Yeah. Right, that would explain it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any questions on the summary sheet for communities and partnerships? Can we note it? Noted?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, so then we have the.
Steve, just to let you know that James has joined us. So.
Oh yes, thank you.
That's right, just for the minutes. Thank you.
Okay, welcome, James. Who's muted. Okay, so then we have the summary sheet for the end of year balances and reserves. Anything you want to draw to our attention, Sally? It all seemed straightforward.
No, I think that's quite straightforward.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Steve, I just want to say that looks really quite healthy considering the overall position across, local government. That's a very healthy looking balance sheet, and those that are responsible for that should be getting thanked.
Yeah, I think it's. We have to say that the Sally and the team have managed the finances very well, and as you rightly say, we are in a healthy position to meet any unforeseen circumstances, such as a pandemic, for instance. Sad to say, but yeah, it is. It does mean that we have flexibility to do things, which is good. Okay, can we note those?
Yes.
Right, and then we move on again. Sorry, more financial reports, but the first quarter of this year. So first of all, I'm guessing it's our office and establishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything on there that anyone wants to raise first of all? Obviously, I should just point out, as I'm sure you're all aware, that some of the payments are front loaded. So some of the budget lines will show, perhaps an almost full expenditure already. If you look at 5127 computer accounting software, for instance, we're at 92.7% on that, and insurances are. Oh, hello, Angela. Yes, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to say, the IT support 5129. That's quite a heavy amount up front in the first quarter. Was that paying for licenses, or was that attached to the laptops that were purchased earlier?
No, that's our annual support fee. So that and that includes some prepaid hours of support as well. So that should be our entire IT support, and then the remaining budget will be on any repairs or renewals, or if we ever have an issue.
And does that include the virtual?
Yeah, so that includes all our Teams support and all our licenses for 365 as well. So that's all paid up front.
Brilliant. Thank you.
I should say on the insurances, I should thank Sally for negotiating a significant reduction in our insurance premium. So that's certainly a nice position to be in. Anything else on the first sheet, office and establishment, before we get to grants? If you can scroll up to grants, please, Sally.
Oops, not too far. They're right at the bottom there.
Yeah, okay. So, oops. So at the moment, obviously we've not awarded many grants. Yeah, Stephen?
Just in 5301, it says general rants awarded, and I think that's a great line, but I suspect it's a wee typo.
Well spotted.
Yes.
I'll put that right, I think.
I'd leave it as
I
it
think
is.
you should leave it in, Sally. I think that's great.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Stephen. Okay, can we note that?
Yeah.
You can see that we've had some income, some still income there on
yes.
page 2.
Yeah. Very welcome. Okay. If there are no more questions, we'll note that one, office establishment, and move on to the information centre. Okay. I think you know that's given lockdown. I think that's what we have there is pretty predictable, and yeah, there we are. Okay. Any questions on this one? Obviously, we're open now, so I'm not sure how's it going. Do you know?
That's going fine. Obviously, sales are down because we're just taking credit cards and people have to ring the bell to come in. So people are generally coming here if they have a council query rather than to visit the information centre and to purchase things.
Okay, thank you. Can we note that? Thank you. And then direct council expenditure.
You can see that the mayor's allowance has had some refunds in from things that Mike couldn't attend. So there's actually more in the mayor's allowance budget than there was when we started. I think that's probably the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Steve, Mike's got his hand up.
Okay, thank you. Mike.
You're on mute, Mike.
I think there were a fair number of functions that we paid for up front, and obviously we got refunded. So that's nice to see. Of course, there's been no expenditure at all since lockdown.
No. Okay, thanks, Mike. Right. Any questions on?
Just it says your budget on this allowance, Steve. It says 3,500. So it should be 2,500, shouldn't it?
Yes. There's my £1,000 that I could not find.
I noticed that this afternoon.
I have been over those accounts. I was going to get Angela to look at them when she came in. I could not find that £1,000, and there it is. That is amazing. Thank you. That's made my day. If I look at them because when you put the budgets in line by line, and that's a very laborious process, and I could not find that. I was £1,000 out at the end. That's brilliant.
Those things hard to find.
Okay.
That'll be adjusted for next time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Right. Okay, so can we note direct council expenditure, please? Yeah. And then we have the summaries from facilities. Okay. Any questions on that, or can we just note them? Mike?
Yes, Chair. I was just wondering on income for facilities on the Corn Exchange. We've got 4,000 so far. Where's that money come from?
So some of that was from Farringdon newspapers because they paid up to July. We've had quite a few people who've paid in advance for rooms, and our office rent from Weaver Khan and from the Geology Trust has continued.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So can we note those?
Yes.
Thank you. Then community and partnerships. Okay.
Not a lot going on there.
Not a lot going on at the moment, but obviously we'll hope that things improve as the year goes on. Okay, so we know that.
Yeah.
And then we have the balances for the first quarter.
Can you see those?
Not very well.
Can you see them now?
Okay. Okay, so that's the overall picture as we stand at the moment.
You will see that in comparison to the end of year from last year, we're a little bit better off, and that's obviously because we've had our precept in.
Yeah. Okay, can we know that, please? And then we have the information centre
So that's a written report.
report.
Do you want me to share that on the screen?
Yes, please. Then if anyone has any questions, you obviously what we're referring to. Okay. So
This is
report,
the end of year to the 31st of March.
Yeah. As we can see by the way the visitor numbers dropped off in March when we came to lockdown. So otherwise, it looks to me as though the information centre has had another good year.
Yeah, you can see what happened to the incoming week 51 and 2.
Yes. I'm amazed there was any income.
Steve, Bethy's got a question.
Yeah. Okay, Bethia.
I just wanted to know what happened in week 45, because it seems quite significant. Are we starting from like January the 1st or thereabouts, or which is week?
Yeah, so week 40 would be around about January the 1st, yeah.
Yeah. So, wow. Something happened in week 45. I'm just curious.
And that could be that because that is all the money that goes through the till. So that may have been an event or large venues payment. I can tell you, but I'd have to go.
Yeah, no,
back
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Just curious. Thank you. I'll put my hand down.
As we know, the team are now back in and running the information centre, and I believe, Sally, that's operating well under the circumstances.
Yeah, under the circumstances, working very well. I'm really proud how everyone's adapted, actually, because it's been quite stressful to get all the things to keep everyone safe in place, and everyone's adapted really well. We're dual manning, so we're just opening in the mornings at the moment, so we can have 2 people on. One can look after the door and the management of people coming in and out, and the other can be behind a screen and serve people. And obviously we have the food bank open on a Monday and a Wednesday morning, so yeah, that's quite an operation to keep everybody socially distanced and everyone safe, and the staff have adapted so well. So yeah, but they're a credit to the council.
I think we ought to ask you to pass on our thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, to all the staff, to be quite honest, rather than we won't single anyone out, but it's clearly very difficult times, and the fact that we're able to open and maintain a service for the town is to the credit of all the staff. Well done.
Thank you. I'll pass that on.
Okay, so if we can note the information centre report, we then come on to the number 9, the COVID-19 financial update, if you like, and the projections on where we're likely to, I don't like to use the word gain, but underspend or lose going forward. And you'll see
there is something that I haven't included, which would be the mayor's allowance. Obviously, will be underspent.
It's true.
So I'll do some projections there. So that will be a saving.
Yes. I mean, in many ways, the savings are sad to see, really, because they're all savings against things that we had planned to do, or the town were planning to do, and we were giving grants for. So in many ways, it's sad to see that we are saving money in that sense. But obviously there are losses as well to balance against that with the room hire and so on. Okay, any questions, anyone? I think we need to keep, this is a regular update going forward. Certainly for this financial year, so that we see what the overall impact.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope by next year we will be through things. Okay, Angela.
Yeah, the thing, thanks very much for that, Sally. I think that's quite comprehensive. But I just wondered about things like standing water at the old town hall. Kind of if there's going to be any maintenance that might need to be done before it does open again, checking the water, Legionellas and things like that.
Absolutely, yeah. So that'll be in the risk assessment that we carry out a Legionella test on the buildings before we open. But we do go and run the water.
Oh, you do, okay.
So the facilities team are actually using the old town hall as their rest room, so where they make their cup of tea to keep the footfall in this building down. So that is being used.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's just that sometimes we know from experience that as soon as you're not using a property, it starts to deteriorate.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like keeping on top of the maintenance, and if there was any extra costs associated with that above and beyond what we've actually budgeted for.
I hope there won't be, because like I say, we have been using them for different purposes, even though they haven't been opened. And although the Corn Exchange hasn't been open for hirers, the offices are still being used that are rented, and also obviously we've had the builders in there as well using it for a month. So there has been quite a lot going on in there. So, and we've done lots of refurbishments in the bar, and actually the Corn Exchange has been completely painted as well. So there's been a lot of work going on during lockdown, and the buildings have had occupants.
Okay.
Thank you, Sally.
Thank you.
All right. So if we can move on then to banking, and we need to agree the bank signatories for the council's bank accounts. Currently, the signatories are myself, Councillor Wise, and Councillor Bentley. And I understand we need an additional one.
Yeah, and following the resignation of Councillor Farmer, we are one bank signatory down.
Right. So, okay, we need a volunteer.
Yeah, I'm happy to be a bank signatory.
I'll second that.
Yeah, absolutely. My one question would be, given that you are the person who often comes in and oversees and audits things, Angela, would that create a potential conflict?
Well, I think there's a second, I mean, because in theory, the independent check, the quarterly independent check can be done by any councillor, and we could always get that onto a roster. And I suppose it'd be just easier for me to do a check if I haven't been a second signatory for that period of time.
How about, I mean, I can volunteer to do it if that helps, because I don't think I have any responsibility in this realm.
I mean, it's really a question of whether Angela is prepared to continue her current role as the person who comes in and oversees things.
That's in the next agenda item. The councillors assigned to check the reconciliations can't be bank signatories, so they need to be independent of the bank signatory.
All right, well,
Yeah.
I'm quite happy to let Bethy be the signatory, because I do like having a look at the accounts.
Yeah, no, that's fine, Angela. You go for the accounts.
Thank you for that, Angela. James wants to come in a moment. James?
You're muted, James.
You're on mute, James.
James, you're on mute. If you hover in the middle, there should be a little microphone that you can click.
Sorry, James, we can't hear you.
James has unmuted his microphone, but I think his volume's down or something. He's definitely keeps switching his mute button on and off.
James, why don't you?
Joan is being muted at the moment.
James, why don't you put something in chat? The icon second from where your telephone is, just put it on there.
Next to the hand, James.
Between the hands and the people.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. No, I since Betty, I want to volunteer myself as well as a signatory to the account if you want to. But Betty has that's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
No, James, you go for it. You're
Yeah.
around the corner. You're even closer.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to be a signatory if there is not going to be conflict of interest. Yeah. So.
Okay, so it's between Bethia and James. I heard Bethia say, "Go ahead, James." But which one of you would like to be the signatory?
I mean, if it's up to if Betty wants to do it, that's
James,
fine.
please
I'm
do.
quite happy to do
Yeah,
it if you want me to do it.
withdraw.
Yeah.
Okay, Bethia's withdrawn. So okay, thank you, Bethia, and thank you, James.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so committee are happy with that. I'm assuming we're happy with those 4 signatories. That just to reiterate, that's Councillor Wise, Councillor Bentley, Councillor Famakin, and myself.
And Steve, Mike's got his hand up.
Yeah, sorry, Chair. I've got lost internet connection for a while. I hope it disappeared, so I'm back in the room again. Sorry about that.
Okay, so Mike, we've just dealt with the bank signatories, and we've got you down as one to continue. Is that okay?
That's fine, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, Mike. Okay, so if everyone's in agreement with that, can we move on to approve the list of direct debits? I think Sally, you circulated them.
I have circulated them, yeah. Do you want me to put them up on the
Does
screen?
anyone need to see them, or can we just approve them? It's just the effectively the list going forward.
Yeah. They're coming up now.
Right.
There we go.
Okay. So there we are. Okay. Is everyone happy with that? Any questions? Okay, so can we agree those then, please?
Yes.
All in favour? A nod or a yep, thank you. Right, so then we move on to the internal controls, the audit for this this last year. Again, this has been circulated. So there were a couple of issues.
Yeah, they were very minor.
Yeah.
So the grant, he didn't like the way we ministered our grants, which is what it is really. Because we have a grant subcommittee, he didn't like the way that they were reported to finance. He said that wasn't clear, so I'll make that clear in our terms of reference. And the bank reconciliation hadn't been signed, but that's been addressed now.
Okay, thank you. So can we note the internal audit, please? And then move on to the changes to the accountability and governance practitioners guide. Is there anything in there, Sally, that we should be aware of?
No, they're very minor changes. There is a page that summarises them. They're very minor.
Okay. Okay. So happy to know that. Yeah. Thank you. So, and then finally, under this one, to assign councillors to check reconciliations at the end of each quarter. Angela, I know that you have well again indicated just recently an interest in this. So thank you for that. So do we need more than one person, Sam?
Yeah, we just need a backup in case Angela's away.
Okay. So and that shouldn't be someone who's a signatory.
No.
Okay. So looking for volunteers.
Me or Steve then?
Yes, at the moment, yes, unless we want to volunteer someone in their absence. But Becky, you spoke first. Are you act as first reserve?
I will be first reserve if that's okay with you, Steve.
I'm delighted for you, Councillor Thomas. You can absolutely do that.
It's decided then.
Thank you. Okay, so we're all happy with that, I'm assuming. Yes, thank you. Right. So then we move on to agenda item number 12, Southampton Street toilets. You will have seen the report on this. Sally, you're going to put it up on screen again, or?
Yeah, I can do.
And Sally's recommendation as well.
Is it up?
It is, but it's not readable yet. That's it. Okay. So I don't know, Sally, if you want
I'll
to just
give you an overview.
Give us an overview on
Yeah,
this.
so
first,
we've
please.
been approached by the District Council and the car parks team. They're looking closely at their properties at the moment, and the first thing they're looking at is public toilets. They're cancelling their contracts because at the currently they currently have a contractor who come and cleans the toilets, and they're looking at either employing people directly to clean them or to ask the town and parish councils to employ someone to clean them, and they will cover the cost. I've had a look. They've offered us £6,000 per annum to employ a cleaner and manage them from here. And obviously you can see I've done a projection of how much that would cost the council, and that's very tight.
Okay, Bethia has indicated that she wants to speak. Bethia?
Yeah, I just wanted to clear my interest because I think it's probably inappropriate for me to comment on toilets right now. So, yes, if that's okay, I should have said at the beginning.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Bethia.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you can see that the costing would be tight, and that doesn't include any management fees or training. And I think that should be noted that there has been an increase in sharps left in the toilets. So anyone we employed, we need to make sure that they were fully trained in disposing sharps.
Okay.
So my recommendation is that I work with the district council to help them employ a cleaner locally, but they retain the management.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any comments to make? Okay, so are we happy to, I will propose that we accept Sally's recommendation on this, that she works with the district council to find a local employee to be employed by the district council to clean the toilets. Is that?
I'll second that, Stephen.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mike.
Well, Mike, did you want to speak?
You're on
Mike,
mute.
you're muted.
Just willing to second, but Stephen beat me to it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so is everyone in favour of that proposal?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So then we move on to agenda item number 13, which is the possibility of having terrorism insurance. Again, you will have seen the paper that Sally circulated and the projected cost. It's really a question of whether members feel that we should be risk averse and take out terrorism insurance to cover the very small risk of one of our buildings being damaged by an act of terrorism. You'll see that the cost is some £800, £843 and 8p. I understand this has been generated by the insurance broker rather than as a request from us, and so it's effectively them looking to add something onto our insurance. Okay, so Bethia.
So, advice from the broker: any damage, blown up building, etc., caused by an act of terrorism is excluded.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right, so I think Angela was first and then Stephen.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if any damage, just following on from Bethia's comment, when we read it, is that if there's any damage by an act of terrorism is excluded from the policy, then why are we having the policy? But why would we consider the policy?
That was my unsaid point.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's actually the current policy.
Oh, is that the current policy?
Yeah, the current policy.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was going to say.
So this is an add-on.
I read it too that way as well.
Yeah. Okay, Stephen, you wanted to come in?
Just reflecting on the conversation we had last time to discuss this, and it was, I think you've got to the heart of it, Steve, which is, are we risk averse or aren't we? Are we prepared to risk 800? I think Angela put it really well last time, where she's saying it's about risk and reward. I think £800 is a lot of money, but on the other hand, replacing or repairing any of the very lovely buildings that we have responsibility for is a significant cost. It sounds like a bloody racket, actually, 800 quid that they've just kind of dreamt up. But I think having had it brought, if we operated in ignorance of this, I think we could just say, well, we didn't know about terrorism insurance. We just assured that our building insurance covered it. But since it doesn't, and since it's been brought to our attention, I think we need to make a decision on it. And I'd be inclined very reluctantly to support expenditure on it.
Well, it is kind of ironic that Sally has just negotiated a significant reduction in our insurance premiums. It's almost as if they're trying to claw those back, isn't it? But clearly, what we've saved more than covers the additional premium. So it's really whether we are prudent. Bethia, you wanted to come in?
No, I was just going to say, we are covered if a tractor hits the old town hall, are we, and causes the same amount of damage as a bomb? Because as we've sort of said last time, that is far more likely than somebody blowing it up.
Yeah, we would be covered for that, unless, of course, the person driving the tractor was a terrorist.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Right. Okay, so I mean, it's really a question of whether we feel that we should. I mean, I think this is one of these things where if we take the decision this year to do it, we're going to effectively have to, we will review it, because obviously one could argue that the terrorist risk may change, but it's something that effectively we take it this year, we're going to be almost committing ourselves going forward as well. But okay, Bethia, you want to come in, and then Mike?
Yeah, sorry, it's me again. I was just Oh gosh, it's just gone straight from my head. Mike, you go. Sorry.
Can we let's postpone it for a year? I would have thought the terrorism risk will be a bit quieter this year. I know Swindon have been promoted to League One, and if Oxford don't get into the Oxford won't make the championship, so that's the only likely risk of terrorism, isn't it? But then the volunteers close now, so I think it's a fairly low risk, to be honest. I don't think we're at the forefront of any.
Yeah.
Upset anybody recently, have we? Not recently, anyway.
Well, there's still plenty of 2020 left, Mike.
Yes.
Okay, Bethia, sorry, did you want to?
So I did remember what I was going to say, and that was, I think, harking back to what Angela said last meeting as well. It's about overall audit of our risk and our consideration of risk as a town council. So I think really, if we could do that at some point properly, and then we can make a sort of not necessarily, well, a more informed choice about the matter based on whatever the facts might be, what the terrorism risk is, and our opinions as a body of councillors. And I would say it should be taken to full council based with a risk a full risk assessment in mind.
Yeah.
So that would be mine based on what Angela said last time.
Okay, thank you, Bethia.
Yeah. I mean, I think, the main thing is whether we take it or not, but we have to show that due process was followed for us to get to that decision. Generally speaking, it's in line with our risk appetite, and that's something that maybe I'm quite happy to work with Sally on. Is that if we haven't got our risk appetite, kind of well defined, we can. I mean, is it also worth maybe reaching out to colleagues, and other councils just to kind of get their view?
Yeah, I can do that.
I think. Sorry, go on, Angela.
Yeah, as I said, even maybe you can always speak to the OCLC, whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of it. Just to see what kind of the recommendation is. On normal properties. On kind of other kind of parish and town properties. I mean, I suppose like one of the questions, like for district, do they have a terrorism insurance?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Or Oxford, as in the Castley thing in the middle of Oxford, whatever the town Oxford County Council. That's it. Yeah. So maybe just to reach out to see if
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
I think if we were in a more sensitive area, say in a bigger city, where this might arise, I think it would be worthwhile having that insurance. And I agree that it ought to be a council decision, but I would have thought the risk here in a rural environment is low. That's why I'm not. I can appreciate it if you were in such an area that you could have things that you would read in papers about terrorist attacks. I think it's unlikely, and I would have thought it's very unlikely. So it's a matter of assessing that risk, isn't it? And it's Stephen said it's £843 worth of expenditure against the most unlikely anyone would want to pick on Farringdon as an example.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I mean, it seems to me that going forward, if we ask Sally to use her extended network to find out what similar councils are doing, but also perhaps we need to have a conversation with the insurance broker to find out, why the insurance wasn't included within our existing.
I think generally speaking, it isn't. It's just something that they offer in addition. Right,
but also whether if we were to take it up, whether it would be part of a package going forward rather than a standalone item. But shall we, rather than dismiss this, even though I think the feeling is that we aren't going forward with it, but before we actually absolutely dismiss it for this year, shall we bring it back to the next meeting after Sally's found out what other councils are doing? just to so we've got full information before we take a decision. Is that okay with everyone? Yeah. Okay, thanks. Right, so I think now we move on to staffing, and it's at this point that I need to do the usual and ask us to go to confidential session. So so it's due to the confidential nature of the business to be discussed. I propose that we suspend Standing Order 3D and press and public be excluded from the meeting, and recording of the meeting to cease. Okay. So